So this is the whole story about how my own sister became my enemy because she wanted to steal my wedding venue and date for herself. My fiancé and I have been seeing each other for 7 years and have been engaged for 2 years. I was juggling between doing my PhD program and planning the wedding. My fiancé took over much of the planning work too. He's a total sweetheart, and we were on the same page about our wedding from day one. Everything was perfect for us. The venue was fully booked till after my graduation. We booked our wedding venue 2 years in advance. We couldn't settle down on any other venue because this one fitted well in our dream wedding vision. So the only slot we got for this particular venue was March of next year. My younger sister, let's call her Teresa, recently got engaged to her boyfriend Steve. They were planning on having their wedding at the end of next year. They obviously had no venue lined up because that takes a lot of time and planning. Anyway, they had a few venues lined up as well as a set date. So my family decided to invite our significant others and their respective family to a BBQ. This is where my sister announced to everyone present, including my extended family, that she is pregnant. Everyone was super happy for her and Steve. My brother-in-law is a great guy. So at the BBQ, my grandmother asked Teresa if they were still planning to get married in a few months on the set date or if they would wait because of the baby. She said no, she hoped to move it to March. No big deal. I was a bit uncomfortable with this, but then I thought to myself that we didn't have many guests who lived out of town, so they could attend both the weddings. No issues. My grandmother seemed happy with her answer, as she felt getting married before having a baby was always the right thing to do. She also offered to help her with planning their wedding since it was going to take place at such a short notice. I was sitting right beside Teresa when this conversation took place. When Grandma asked her this, she turned around, looked at me with puppy eyes, and said, "There is something I'd like to talk to you about." I said, "Yeah, what's the matter?" She said, "I was really hoping we could take your venue. I really cannot stress myself too much with wedding planning and shopping. I'd also have to go to my maternal classes and prenatal yoga. Also, the venue that you guys have finalized for your wedding is so beautiful." It went silent. Everyone was looking at my face and expecting me to say, "Yes, of course, anything for my little sister." Steve looked very uncomfortable with what she said and told her that they had already discussed this and it was not right to put me on the spot. But she went ahead and told everyone quite nonchalantly that I wouldn't mind and I would always want the best for my little sister. So there was no problem. I told her I had a problem. Our hearts were set on the venue and we had spent a lot of time on deciding the decorations and everything, so I would not be comfortable with giving away months and months of planning. She started crying inconsolably and stormed off. My grandmother told me that I was being selfish because she needed the venue more than I did. I tried to defend myself. My mother, out of all the people, said that I waited 2 years. It wouldn't kill me to wait a few more months. When has your sister asked you for anything? A few more critical comments later, my fiancé got really mad at everyone, so we left from there. Later, my sister called me crying and said that it was unfair that I always get what I want and that I could have done this one thing for her. My dad took the phone and said it is just a venue and what matters is the person who you're marrying. Well, he did make sense and was kind of right, but they weren't being fair. We had been planning this for so long. My fiancé is damn pissed with my family and has told me he strictly doesn't want Teresa to come to our wedding. When I let them know this, my family threatened me that none of them would be coming because I am being selfish and mean on top of that, and Teresa needs the venue more than me because having a baby is too much work. My brother-in-law, Steve, called me later and apologized for all the drama and inconvenience and that we had to exit a family BBQ because of all that. He assured me that he had discussed this whole thing with her and she had agreed that she would not ask me for it. He is mad at her now and also told me that my sister is blaming me for potentially ruining her wedding. I was shocked. My father then sent me about 3 texts along the lines of, "I hope you are very happy now because your sister hasn't stopped crying since yesterday," and stuff like that. My fiancé and I were super upset by now, and we firmly decided that we would not let my sister anywhere near the bridal shower party, and we also replaced her with my dear aunt, who was the only family member who took our side. We are yet to decide if we will be inviting my family or not as a whole. The most ugly thing that my mom did was that she took it upon herself to tell on us and called my fiance's parents and told them that it would be best if my sister Teresa got the venue because she is pregnant and preeclampsia runs in the family. Whatever that means. The funny thing is that my future father-in-law told my mom to fuck off and ripped her out for expecting something so ridiculous from her own daughter. He also warned her that she would probably lose me forever if they kept being so partial towards my sister and playing favorites. My mom was crying and texted me that my father-in-law is an asshole. This whole texting my in-laws was such a pathetic move. I know it seems straight like a scene out of a crappy soap opera. But I am lucky enough that my fiance's parents adore me so much and love me because they came over to our place with dinner and wine after the fiasco with my mom and assured me not to worry about the venue. No matter what happens, they would be our safety net. I'm so grateful for them. Eventually, my sister couldn't bear that I was not giving her any chance to get what was rightfully mine, and she lost her mind. She called me and accused me of painting her like a loony and misinterpreting facts when I told my friends and in-laws about it, and now everyone saw her in a bad light because of this. She said I was being unfair, that she is my own family, and asked me so nicely because she loves me. She said that the opinions of strangers don't count because family is more important and I should focus on making my family happy. The only thing I said in response was this: I am sorry that you perceived it that way. I did not in any way distort what happened at the BBQ that day, and I never said you didn't ask nicely, nor did I exaggerate anything. Perhaps you have that night's events differently in your mind than I do, but I disagree with you. She hung up on me, so I sent her a nice long text along the lines of this: I am sick and tired of bending to your will, Teresa. My whole life I have been your maid and basically a doormat. Remember all the birthdays I had to share with you because you would otherwise throw a tantrum that you didn't get any presents on my birthday? Or when you would fake cry so that I would fill out job applications for you. But you know what has hurt me the most till now is when you ruined my graduation. I am done with your nonsense, and I admit I am at fault too for spoiling you, but I will not give in any longer. If you want to get married so badly before your baby is born, then you could look at other places that offer last-minute bookings for weddings. I have spent too much time planning my wedding to give it to you. And if you want to ruin our relationship over this, then you can go ahead. I will sleep sound and safe knowing that it wasn't my fault. She only replied with a "Wow, you must love me so very much," and blocked me. She unblocked me and sent me a screenshot of the conversation between her and my wedding planner. My wedding planner texted her saying that, "Hello dear, I got the message from your mother and will proceed with the rebooking of the venue on the spot. However, this will have extra costs as we have to change the names on the contract. Please come by my office tomorrow so we can sign the new contract." My sister had replied to her with a "That's great. I'll be there at 10. My parents haven't actually spoken to me since the thing with my father-in-law. My elder brother, who lives in another city and was not present at the BBQ, he initially could not come to the wedding because of work and changed his plans after hearing all about the whole thing. He contacted me and wanted to know what happened because he got a weird story from my parents that I had offered to help Teresa with her wedding and give up my wedding venue to her way before the BBQ, but had humiliated her on the day of. I told him the truth, and he had no problem believing me. Our parents have been shitheads to us, and he confessed that him moving out was partly due to our parents' behavior. He also told me that my mom had heard about our conversation before Teresa blocked me, and she was mad at me for betraying my whole family. My parents love my sister more than me, and I won't be contacting them again because I've come to terms with this fact. Regarding the wedding, we put passwords with the majority of our vendors and also with the venue directly. My sister was bluffing about the meeting with my wedding planner. We canceled the catering that my parents paid for. So we won't be able to get a full catering like we wanted to, but all our friends and my fiance's family will help us prepare a buffet, and everyone is going to chip in. Later, when we called our planner to discuss something, she was actually terrified that my sister had lied to her about their meeting. She told me she has never talked to my mother after we booked the venue. She assured me that even if they were to call and say that I wanted it, I had to be present to make any changes. So we informed everyone that will work for us on our wedding day, and they offered to hire security for that day at a reduced cost. A few days had passed, and we luckily sorted many things out. Passwords were set with the vendors, security had been hired, recipes for the family and friends cookout had been chosen that would be our bachelor party, and I even started therapy because I must admit, going through all this right before getting married was tough on me mentally. Sadly, some more upsetting things happened as well. My sister was marching against me on Facebook. She was making constant passive-aggressive remarks, suggesting that I made her depressed, etc. I received messages from her friends saying that I am a bitch for treating her that way. I won't mention what happened to Steve. I think he will tell this story when he is ready. I blocked every attempt at online harassment and my sister as well. My sister and her best friend egged my car. I called the cops and my neighbor identified them both doing it because she was standing right in her window when it happened. My parents called me and asked if we could talk it out. I was reluctant to do this but agreed, and we met at our apartment with my fiancé present too. I could tell my mom had been crying and I felt bad for her. We began chit-chatting awkwardly, and then the wedding catering subject came up. They wanted to know why we canceled the caterers. We said we didn't want any favors from them, which they could hold above our heads later, and they said they would never do that. My mother started talking negatively about me again. I called them disrespectful for being shitty parents to me all these years. We got into a heated argument about the venue again, and they left. I had to block my family from everywhere because they were trying to contact me from relatives' phones to persuade me to change my mind and that my sister was too depressed and her relationship was failing. My grandmother came home to apologize and wanted to be present for my wedding, so we hugged it out, and now I have her blessings along with my in-laws and my brother and close friends. So we got to the wedding day. The morning was beautiful and relaxed. My bridesmaids and I got ready. We drank some Prosecco and took pictures. My dress fits perfectly. Then we had to leave for the ceremony. We were at the venue taking pictures when I saw my sister's car approaching. I didn't want any more drama, so I quickly made one of my friends call the security person to come and stay with us should matters escalate. She came to us and started screaming obscenities at me. She had been angry and crying. Apparently, I am a filthy bitch that made her fiancé break up with her. She bent down to take the wet mud and throw it at me when my maid of honor sprinted towards her and pushed her so she fell with her butt down. I realized she was pregnant and tried to help her, but later she even admitted that the whole pregnancy thing was a lie to gain sympathy in my venue. No wonder Steve broke up with her. The security guy immediately made her leave, and I had enough ammunition to file a restraining order against her. The rest of the wedding went smoothly by God's grace, and I will be grateful to all those who were present and happy for us. I married my best friend, the love of my life, my rock. We all cried at the wedding vows. The groom and his friends did a dance too, and we all had a good laugh. We got amazing pictures. I miss my parents, but it was what it was. Sometimes you lose family to find a new one among strangers, and you have to move on with that. That's the best way forward.